go.
Brandon, that was excellent.
Was that okay?
Yeah, it was excellent.
Didn't want to sound too... I have a lot to say sometimes, and it's hard for me to shut up. And there's so much coming at me. There's so much, and then I'll forget about something really important. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry if I...
It all ties together so well. You always come off so well anyway, so it was good.
Thanks.
So
that was kind of weird.
I'm interested in going down that rabbit hole of manipulation through the dream state. Now I realize that we are consciously going into the dream state. What is it? Every 9 minutes or something? We should look that up, fact check that. But
it's something like I know what you're saying.
Isn't it 48 billion times a second or something?
It depends, man. I don't know.
We should look that up, Jerry, since we do the show.
Well, no, I don't. That's a theory, and I was talking specifically about the that shit that Cliff High says that I've heard someone else talk about it. That there's our reality is rendered in frames like 48 million times per second.
Oh, right.
48 megahertz or something, whatever that is.
Right. I mean, I don't know. But I can just, I know there exists like hemi-sync type of technologies where certain sound frequency that you can't even hear can be just around you or beamed at you, and it will induce visionary states, or it can induce certain type of triggers in your brain that will induce certain visions. You know what I mean?
Sure. And there's also the V2K tech.
That's why I think the Blue Avian thing, they used it in that, and that's why I think they took those down. Because when I first watched those cosmic, this was 2 years ago. This has nothing to do with the drama that's going on right now. When I first watched that Blue Avian video, and I wasn't the only one, I confirmed this with several different people, took it down, I think, and it came with all the art. And when they revealed what the Blue Avians looked like, because I had never heard of one. I knew Greys, I knew Nordics and stuff. Never heard of a Blue Avian. And then when they shows like as comical as it kind of looked, there was some kind of hemi-sync, hollow-sync technology going on where it actually put fear in it. Or it's not fear, but almost like a real sense of it actually being there. The Blue Avian actually being present. It was a real powerful tool. And like, if it's something like that is done, and we know it's done in advertising, we know subliminals are done in mediation and stuff like that. Like Michael Aquino wrote a whole book about it. Mind War.
So did William Bernays.
But as we're moving into 5G, this is now becoming, Skull to, what is that tech where they're using in the military?
B2K.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, voice to skull and all that through the Internet of Things, which is tied into 5G. This now can be a blanket experience. They can say, hypothetically, target a whole city.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's existed since, like the Iraq War, I think, or even the Cubans.
But we weren't wired in with 5G like we're getting wired in now, it's not just a tactical experience now, because our cities are actually getting wired up this way. This can just be someone sitting at their computer with these programs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think I'm very cautious of certain radio hosts. Whenever I listen to them and I get emotional, or I get one way or the other, very conscious of that. So yeah, I think that exists. I think, and I know it's employed, for a fact. I know people who do it.
I just wanted to hit back on the synthetic telepathy, which is what you were talking about, but I don't think you know that, or you might know that.
Yeah, sorry, I just had AC went on.
I think from my research, what I think basically is that these these channelings that people get from angels or whatever, alien group. I think there's different ones, but those are basically using this technology, okay?
Yeah.
It's using a technology to interface with humans. And I think that there are groups on Earth, military groups, black ops, whatever they are, right? There's groups that have reverse engineered that. And that's what's used nefariously to fuck with people. So I think that there is there's fuckery, first of all, because what the fuck AI is channeling these people, right?
I don't know, man. I mean, listen, I'm very cautious of calling anything and everything AI, because you got to be careful with that, because these are other people too. Like,
okay, what other intelligence is this?
We don't know, man. I mean, it could be. What do you mean, like the visitations from angels and like visions of Mary and whatnot?
Like Bashar.
I don't know.
Like Bashar. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to say, oh, they're demons. Gotcha. That's not what I'm going for here. I really want to know what you think that is. Well,
I don't know, man. I mean, when he channels something, I think it's an archetype. When it's a human type that they're tapping into. You know what I mean? Like it's always
like an area.
It always speaks.
Yeah. Always speaks the same thing.
Yeah, man. It always seems to have like the character, like when take Bashar, because it varies from individual to individual, and from whatever experience you want to say.
Right.
But yeah, like when he taps into Bashar, or Bashar taps into other people, there's definitely something there that's like, CW Chanter pointed this out to me. He's like, there's another guy that channels Bashar. I'm like, oh, I thought there was only one Bashar. He's like, no. He's like,
he's got a different name, Adronis.
Yeah, that guy. Or
oh yes, yeah.
But they all have the same sort of message and same sort of pattern in their speech. So it tells me that there is actually, it could be of off-world intelligence, Metatron or whatever type of thing that is speaking through these people and using them, like H.P. Lovecraft talked about, through their dreams. H.P. Lovecraft was very inspired by his dreams, and a lot of his stories came from his dreams as well, or nightmares. So like these things are old ones that we've just totally forgot about, and they're seeping back through the unconscious, through the sensitive types and people and the channelers and the people who connect to it. So there could be, and like you say, it could be hijacked. It totally could be hijacked, because that energy signature could be very, very much, could be psychically mapped. And I've heard this, but I've never seen too much proof for it. But it doesn't, I mean, the way science is, where science is that they actually break it down pixel by pixel, and sound by sound and stuff like that, and they actually can induce like these types of messages.
Yeah, right. Well, they can get you in a hypnagogic state, and then through various flashes, frequencies that are inaudible but still heard, still received.
Yeah,
those kind of things. They can trigger emotional or endocrine system reactions in your body.
Basically, hormones. Yeah.
But,
artificially, it's incredible.
Right. That's interesting, and that's more what 5G is like. But the V2K is also one step above that, where they're talking in your head. You're actually.
And well, let me tell you what, man. I was about 10 years ago. Maybe it was 10 years ago. This is not 10 years ago. Maybe like 7. Okay. New York City, Manhattan, with my friend. It might be on YouTube. I think somebody caught it on YouTube, because I looked it up right after. I thought it was crazy, but I was walking down the street and I heard, "Hey," a whisper. I heard a whisper.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, you. Yeah, you over there. Hear me? Can you hear me?" I'm looking around like nobody. My friends aren't. I'm like, dude, my friend was. I'm like, you hear that? He's like, no. I'm like, wait a second. Like, he's like, no, you're crazy. All right, so I noticed it around, and I didn't know where this was coming from. Well, it was coming from a billboard, an advertisement that had a little projector on
wow.
it, and it sent out and if you were walking in this certain path on this sidewalk,
you broke the light. Yeah.
It would go right into your head, and it would say, "Hey," and it was an advertisement for American Horror Story on FX, the first season, I think.
Genius and scary.
So look that up, man.
No, that
Scary.
So they use
advertisers are. Imagine what is being used at the military level.
Correct. It's the exact same technology. It's called V2K or voice to skull. The consumer stuff is starting to come out now that for whatever reason. I actually have a headphone that I bought. It was I got in a Kickstarter 2 years ago for this thing called a Batband.
Oh wow!
And it's basically it looks like what do they call those? Olive things the Romans used to wear around their heads.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like not a full crown, but a U-shaped thing above the ears, and it uses V2K and Bluetooth. It receives Bluetooth and plays it in your head at various volumes using that technology.
Are you serious? Wow.
And I have one. I got a shipping notice, I don't know, 2 days ago. It's on its way.
Oh, wow, Jerry.
Oh, it's on its way, dude?
Yeah.
Are you serious? No, I thought you already had it.
No, I don't have it yet.
Oh, my.
It took them 2 years to make it.
Batband.
It's batband.com.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your...
It's going to be intense, man.
I can't wait till you tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. People who are talking about it on YouTube and stuff are like, this thing is amazing. Yeah, it's like having speakers in your head.
The other thing is like the danger of like you said, it's a double-edged sword, right? So you could have people who they want to put in your head advertisements, go buy this and go do that, or you're depressed. The world is horrible. Take a pill, you'll feel better. You know.
Okay, so now.
But with the 5G.
Wait. Hold the thought with the 5G. What you just talked about, people 100 years ago were called demons.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know, where do we draw the line on these things?
Well, we have to look at it. We have to actually honor the timeline we're on. And what is at least disclosed to us in the public, and say 100 years ago, this tech didn't exist that we know of. Otherwise, we wander down the crazy road, which I'm fine to do.
CIA time travelers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we can go there, but if we just want, this stuff's happening now and in public, so it's not crazy road anymore, and we come off more credible if we root it here and now with what's actually happening. That you can buy a Batband.
Exactly. Yeah,
you can walk down Manhattan and a sign can target. You know, you walk under its beam.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not just the ravings of like. And I love her, Solaris Blue Raven, but
I just wrote her name down.
She really?
Yes. Because she talks about it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and and of course she's had Michael Aquino on as a guest and all that, which is very interesting to me. But she seems to be targeted in a sense. Like, this is where you get the people who say they're targeted individual. We're all targeted individual. You know what I mean?
Especially at this point.
But you got to wonder how much of that do these people bring upon themselves?
And that too. And a lot of it's a manifestation of their psychological messiness.
I mean, Solaris, she's great. I love her shows and everything, but she's always angry. It seems.
One time, and I was listening to her as I was drifting off into sleep. Mm-hmm. I had the most nightmarish dreams, because when she gets into a dark place, she gets into a dark place, man. And in that vision and that dream was just completely dark and nightmarish. I just remember that. So I don't know if she's also, because she's aware of it, that she's projecting out these types of frequencies on her show. But that's somebody I'm very cautious about too. You know? Yeah,
when she stopped posting on YouTube, I stopped listening. I just have one more thing to throw in here about this topic, was that about almost 20 years ago, probably call it 15 years ago, Futurama had an episode. I could tie everything back to a Futurama episode. There was
the genius of Futurama.
Well, it's Matt Groening and Fry wakes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is Brandon roboting for you, Jerry?
Yes, he is. Is that what you call roboting? You said,
Brandon. Yeah, that's what we call roboting.
That's network loss.
Whatever it's got the robot sound.
All right. What were you, so there's I didn't hear what you said. I was talking about Futurama.
And speaking of Futurama, he roboted.
I think when a lot of people talk at once. Do you have Skype, Nish?
It hasn't happened tonight. I have an old Skype. I need to get a new one set up.
Next time we'll use Skype or Zoom or something. We'll try something.
Okay.
There was a Futurama episode, season 1, 3, whatever the original. I think it was. It doesn't matter. I'll find it. But Fry wakes up he had the craziest dreams, and he wanted to go buy new underwear. And he just had to go buy new underwear. I got to go buy new underwear today. You go to the store, and they've got these crazy ass underpants that are like $100. I don't remember what the deal was, but everyone was like drawn there to buy them because they were getting beamed ads into their dreams.
I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't remember. I got to see that one.
I remember that one very clearly.
Yeah, me too.
I love Futurama.
Yeah,
and here we are.
It's funny. Do you know what I love about Futurama? Do you know? There's so many things that are hidden in that show that a lot of people don't know. Like, do you know what are the pigeons of the future?
No.
They're owls?
Oh, cool.
Oh, interesting.
All the birds that are like on the street picking for like what you would think poor pigeons are actually owls. I know Cohen's dropped some equations into some of the time travel ones, or like the ones that have the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes.
The
there's a lot of those.
Yeah, they're the theoretical whatever they are. They're smart fuckers.
The physicists.
When they do equations on the board, there's messages in those equations. There's all kinds of Easter eggs.
What are you talking about?
In anything I do artistically, I intentionally throw in everything I can. So it only makes sense that, and I don't have a nefarious agenda. I just really like working with symbols, and some of them do appear to be dark to some people. It's perspective. So when we're looking at, when people are decoding, works of art via the film industry or whatever, I think sometimes that to me is a layer of brilliance that's happening. And yes, certainly there can be a lot of predictive programming and then, foreshadowing that's intentional, like like the magician's other hand kind of thing that everyone talks about. But also, I think it just speaks to some brilliance.
Yeah, I think it speaks to brilliance. I think there's an accidental sort of intelligence maybe like behind it all, because
we talked about this Hive, didn't we?
Well, I would love to have a serious hive where like we don't get
really
talked
a serious
over.
Hive.
A serious hive.
Contradiction right there.
I would love to have a show where we could just explore that completely and just talk about it, because
that'd be
Nish, you were talking about symbolism. What I was referring to was more Easter egg-ish.
Yeah.
How so?
That there's the equations. If you filled out, if you did the equation right or something, it would give you a message.
Yes.
Or the owls being the scavengers. That could be symbolic, and if the owls represent the elite or the watchers, maybe they're just more present. I was thinking about something else, so never mind that. They're not.
Well, it's like when I was dreaming about I was having dreams about a certain scenario, and at the same time, someone like Stephen King is writing about the same, making a book about the same thing I'm dreaming about in the same period of time. Right. I don't find out for years later, that he writes this book. And so it's in the ethers. We're all connected to it. Agree. And so I think this stuff, as you're saying, Brandon, it accidentally finds its way in.
And now this, getting back to these targeted individuals, people believe that their ideas have been stolen in their dreams. Right. While that may be true, I'm not saying it's not. This could also explain it.
I've never felt that way personally. And yet I look at like that book, that Stephen King book, and it's literally my dream. I've been talking about that dream since it happened. I'm on record talking about it. That dream, the Cell that came out. Okay. It's a movie last year, but it was written at the same time I was having the dream, and it was so prolific, so lucid that I'm online talking about it. I'm talking to my friends about it. Stephen King's writing about it, but nobody knows because he publishes the next year.
Right, exactly. And I've had that experience with many writers, but one of them was Lovecraft. The first Lovecraft story I read, I went in alphabetical order. I started with the story when he wrote when he was like 17, called The Alchemist. And it's very cool, and it's about like a French aristocrat's family, and all of his family members on his father's side were alchemists. He had a Charles the Sorcier, which means Charles the Sorcerer, died at 32 years old and 32 days, 32 days till his 33rd birthday. And I'm reading, but guess when I'm reading that.
When you're 32
years old, 32 days exactly to my birthday. I was like, yes!
This also ties into your Boston brand story.
Yeah, dude, totally. I was going to say that.
Maybe that
because I didn't discover that, so maybe at the most 6 months ago.
Right, so maybe you had been doing that for a long time, and this other guy was picked it up.
And I've been saying, like, I would have inside jokes with my friends, like 6th grade, and I would attach him. So I would say, "Oh, you're Mick this, you're Mick fucking, you're Mick this," and I would say McLovin. We had a McLovin thing for a while, and then when that came out with that movie, what was it called? Superbad. With McLovin, and McLovin became a big thing. I was like, just the sense of like, oh, they stole that from me. But then it's that they put it out there before you, which is why I use Twitter a lot.
Me too. The timestamp things.
See?
Yeah, that's very important. I mean? But is it the ego?
On a scale far larger than that.
It's way larger than that.
So I think it might be some kind of way of like everyone's connected to what Tesla called the infinite intelligence.
The cloud.
But so when I hear people saying
sphere, and I think the atoms.
Oh, that was weird.
That was strange.
The ideas are, these ideas are out there, conscious.
You totally just broke up.
You know what I mean?
But what's funny is in the playback, he'll be completely clear.
No, he won't.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, really? When I listen to playback, when the roboting happens, it's always so crystal clear, and we're like, "You're roboting."
Okay, well, maybe.
Sorry.
I'm not recording. I am recording the Hangout, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that brought up an idea in my head just now. Thinking about that, what if these stories that people come up with, these plots, aren't really fantasy, but they're other people's dreamtime experiences?
Mm-hmm.
In that way, nothing is really fiction or false,
and nothing's original, right? Yeah.
Well, if it's dreamtime, exactly, then it's not false because it's dreamtime physics, it's dreamtime laws, which are grounded in that experience. Therefore, it is a truth. It's not a falsehood.
Right, but I mean,
people who come back with it and say this is what's happened to me, and it sounds fantastic and unreal, and lie detectors are put out. in the architecture of what we're calling reality, and yet it happened in another dimension, which we're calling dream time.
But let's say an altered state of consciousness.
Right, but sometimes people don't want to go there with that. It's easier to say, use the term dream, because everyone, at least most people, can relate to that.
I was saying instead of dimension.
Right. Thank you. And I'm woo-woo personally,
so
but I do try to root myself in the common vernacular.
I am too, and I think we need to stop doing that, because
we need to stop being common, Jerry.
We need to stop doing that. We need to stop using terms that don't mean what we think they mean. This is just
clear
me.
With your language. It's tough. That's tough with anything.
Okay, clarity. I agree.
Right, but I mean, when you're dreaming, you're in an altered state of consciousness.
Absolutely.
So if you think you're in another dimension, then why should anyone else believe that? You were just in an altered state of consciousness. Now, we can explore what that means and what happens there, but to label that as a different dimension.
There's actually, cognitive dream researchers will use that terminology and that language. There's a lot of crazy language around cognitive functions that are happening, but they're not in the.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. So, I think it's best to speak plainly and commonly if we can, because that seems to be where most people are.
I agree, and I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I don't want to adhere to a dogma or ideology or something like the New Age movement.
Right. Oh, I'm with you. And so, I find myself sometimes using those terms.
And by kowtowing to that lowest common denominator. What?
Yeah, and you totally can't go by the lowest common denominator.
Are you in a rocking chair?
Who?
Brandon.
No, I don't know. That's just...
There's all these like bong bong noises. Like you're rocking back and forth on your chair.
Nope. I'm sensing you on a big old southern porch, Brandon.
Me too. I just told you the picture of him rocking back and forth in this chair.
Right. You might have a mint julep or something going.
I am outside. Oh, that is funny.
Sitting there like rocking back and forth. Maybe. I don't know, dude. I just saw it in my head.
I know. I totally saw the rocking chair. Well, there are noises that are, of course, giving us those signals,
I think his microphone is hitting his iPad.
No, it's just I'm talking on the phone. I don't know, man. I really don't know.
You're on the phone? Oh, I don't know. You got a sharp beard today.
Because I'm shattered. Green.
Mine did too the other day.
I have to get it fixed.
I bought a new phone, which I'm going to return tomorrow because I hate it. It's fucking... You can't unlock the damn thing.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's got a locked bootloader, so the factory encrypts the...
Oh, you mean like jailbreak?
Yeah, it's unjailbreakable. So I'm stuck. You lose 4 gig of what?
Hello, guys.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
You lose 4 gig of space with the bloatware. Plus, you got all their spy apps on there watching every fucking thing you do.
Yeah, no kidding. I cheat Siri on the iPhone. I for a long time back to what they call a dumb phone, which is just a little flip phone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And but recently, I just had an upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I like having access to the internet. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Tomorrow, chat. Thank you so much for having me on.
What was that? You were rocking.
Okay, I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Again, grab me on.
Okay, dude. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, we'll talk to you on Friday or whenever. Take care. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Night.
That was a good one. I knew this would. I don't know. I say this every single time I realize that, but I really enjoyed that. There's something about Brandon that is, there's a bit of glamour that I like. And then he's got that woo woo. And then yet he's also so grounded at the same time. He's had a nice balance of energies.
Definitely.